Bert, I also want to try a few of these out for you. Let me know what you think. New England lost
Yeah.
the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah.
Why so deflated?
Oh no.
Pat's a shame.
No, no. Say
Look, you
more.
win some, you lose some.
Uh-huh.
Pat's how the cookie crumbles.
Oh god. You better Belichick your notes on that one.
Yeah, no, ooh, tadoosh.
Mm-hmm.
Patriot games? More like Patriot losses. Drake May for MVP? Belichick yourself before you wreck yourself.
I like that.
Like that one? On today's
Yeah.
pod, more of those Patriots puns and idioms coming your way on the Quiet Storm Hour. We're also going to talk about some leftover Super Bowl takes. Sam Darnold, has he ascended to top 10 next year? I don't know. We'll find out. Randy Moss had some super interesting things to say about the Hall of Fame voting process, something that we've talked about extensively, but he added a new wrinkle to it that I didn't really, it's probably been brought up, but we'll talk about it more because the way he said it was more interesting. And then MLB and NBA, specifically the NBA, are voting this summer to expand to 2 cities, and the cities were already chosen, Vegas and Seattle. MLB, Rob Manfred is one step closer to his dream of 32 nice, even teams in MLB, and he wants to add a West Coast city and an East Coast city. So me and Bert will debate which cities those should be and how the realignment may or may not look if it does indeed happen. All that and more next.
Give them a shot to do what?
Sports. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Stuff About Sports, presented by the Give Us a Shot Network, powered by Fast Break Coffee, and sponsored, as always, by those haters. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to all the first timers. Shout out to all the last timers. Shout out to all the long timers. Appreciate y'all being here. Please like, share, subscribe, comment. We appreciate it greatly. If you don't do that, then I hope you get a parking ticket. So, Bert, what's up, man? How you doing?
Doing good, man. How are you?
I'm pretty good. The cold weather's gone. Lovely North Carolina has dropped us about 2 days straight of near 70, and not quite 70. I think it was like a nice 67 today. We had a 69 nice yesterday. So,
Sex. Yeah.
yeah, super nice. And then, tomorrow I think it's going to be a little lower with some rain, but we'll get right back to the 60 stuff next week. So that'll be pretty dope. So,
We've
um,
also hit warmer weather. It got
wow.
above freezing for the first time in
Oh,
probably like a month.
nice.
And after you've experienced week upon week of like single digits into the teens and wind chills bringing you well into the negative, when it's 36 degrees outside, Germ, it
Oh,
feels like 70 degrees. Like
yeah,
it
that's
feels like a
nice.
warm spring day. It
Yeah.
it was nice. Yeah.
Shorts weather. And here I am complaining about our 40 degrees or ice frigid 40 degrees down here. Yeah, I'm so spoiled by North Carolina weather. Like it drops down to 30, 40. I'm like, oh my God, like
I
cancel
know. North
school.
Carolina's
I mean,
made
what
you
are we going to
soft.
do?
It's made you real
It
soft, you
has.
know?
It has. I'm not even going to deny it. Yep. That's exactly what it's done to me. I enjoy my board shorts and going to the beach and enjoying nice weather in the winter, not having to deal with snow. And I shouldn't complain because this is the first snow we've had in like, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, like a good snow. Like, because usually when it
Yeah.
snows here in the winter, it's like flurries in the morning, but then by 3 o'clock, it's nice and sunny and you would never
You
know
wouldn't
it
have known.
snowed in the morning.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's strange, but yeah, I'm definitely jaded. What is this, my 7th year down here? I'm very jaded by North Carolina weather, so I definitely am spoiled. All right, you know who else is spoiled? New England Patriots fans. You guys,
Yeah.
crying about every little thing that comes your way. So we're not going to talk about losers. We like to talk about winners here. We'll get to the Patriots in a second. Bert, let's start today off with a little fair or foul New England Super Bowl edition, just to kind of wrap up Super Bowl weekend with a nice little bow. Didn't get the Super Bowl MVP, but was a large part of the Seahawks' success. Maybe not in that game specifically, but definitely in the NFC title game. Sam Darnold, to you, fair or foul, Sam Darnold has done enough to silence the haters.
100%. Yeah. I mean, look, we talked about this in our show leading into the Super Bowl too. His play away from New York, Carolina, was still kind of iffy. The verdict was still out, but I mean, great season in Minnesota, great full season this year too. And then, I mean, the playoff run he had as well and a Super Bowl win, that should be enough to literally erase all of the struggles he has had from day one being drafted by that terrible organization, the New York Jets. So yeah, I mean, he's well earned it at this point. And I mean, look, you led into it in the beginning of the show. I mean, who's to know what's going to happen next season? And he could carry this play into next year and still be a huge factor too. So, I mean, he's had the second breath of his career going strong.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think anybody's going to confuse him with Patrick Mahomes. Is he a top 5 quarterback? No, but I think he's moved away from career backup guy to serviceable winner guy. Somebody that like you wouldn't scoff at if Sam Darnold's your quarterback. Okay, we can work with that. Obviously some other things have to be happening, but Sam Darnold turned his basically image around there, because it wasn't like he was there for the ride. He was a very important part to that team's success. And in terms of redemption stories, that's the way you want to do it, man. It's funny. It's like Seattle's like the witness protection for failed quarterbacks. Geno Smith looked really good there. It just wasn't good enough, right? And then, obviously whatever happened there, and he ended up in Las Vegas. And poor Geno Smith, you leave the team and then they go to the Super Bowl next year, and then the team that you're on, they're going to draft a quarterback with the number 1 overall pick. It turned out to be the worst team in the league. And, they turned out to be number 1 pick. But yeah, the Sam Darnold apology tour definitely stopped at Super Bowl 60 for me. I think he has done enough to silence the doubters and basically say, top 10-ish somewhere. I don't think that's like a far-fetched thing to say. I don't think that's a crazy thing to say. Again, is he vaulted up there with the all-time great quarterbacks? No, but he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback on a really good team, and I think that says a lot, for him. But that was for the season. He had a really good season. The game wasn't really anything. Kenneth Walker ended up with the Super Bowl MVP primarily because what he did in the second half. But Bert, the story of the game to me was Jason Myers, the kicker, who basically had all the field goals that you could possibly want in that game. Fair or foul
record of 5 field goals in a game,
and kept them push that lead out every chance they got when the offense stalled, and the defense did their job. Jason Myers, Seattle's kicker, should have won Super Bowl MVP. Fair or foul?
Foul. You can't give it to a kicker. You can't, and they proved it so much. I mean, look, I'm not saying he did a bad job, but I mean, like, that's why I gave it to Kenneth Walker. He got a 135 on the day. It was in the second half, but that was still a big half. They had to get out in front. I mean, look, when New England came back and scored that touchdown, they were within 2 scores, I think, of being right back into it. So you had to keep your foot on the pedal there, because it was by no means a cakewalk for Seattle, although it seemed like it. But no, foul. As much as I would want to give it to him, I would say if it was nothing but field goals, then yeah, sure. But no, you got to give it to Kenneth Walker. Honestly, I mean, their defense was just shut down in the first half too. It was yawn fest, right? The Super Bowl wasn't exciting. It wasn't, but I do think there's a large testament of Seattle's defense. I know everybody's saying the Pats are frauds. They had the easiest schedules. Like, look, I get that, but they were in the game, and Seattle still had to go in with the plan to shut them down, and they did. And on the surface level, there's a part of me that does feel bad for Drake May, but I mean, he didn't have time to do anything. He was being rushed constantly, and at the end of the day,
Yeah.
they were outcoached, outplayed, outsmarted. Take your pick.
Bert, this is fair. He should have been Super Bowl MVP. He put 14 points up on the board. He
Yeah.
single-handedly outscored the Patriots most of that game. What was the score? 29 what? What did the Patriots have? There wasn't a lot, but what's the Super Bowl score? Maybe I'm talking out of turn.
29.
I know at least for most of the game to 13. So single-handedly outscored the Patriots by himself. Literally carried the offensive load for, let's be 75% of that game. And then, a kicker's never won Super Bowl MVP before. And in this instance, to me, would have been well-deserved because the Patriots, regardless of what happened on the offense, and we can get into that, the defense did their job because the offense wasn't scoring. It was up to the kicker constantly all game. And then I think the wind was taken out of New England's sails a little bit, and then the offense started going in the second half a little bit. But you're talking about a kicker who, I mean, obviously because it's an odd number score, provided, for all intents and purposes, half of the points on the board. Offense scored 15, the kicker had 14. So I don't know, man. Like, if there was ever a time, I should say, for a kicker to win this award in the worst Super Bowl that's ever been played, this should have been it, because it's never going to happen again, right? It's never, the chances of an offense, a Super Bowl winning offense, being that kind of stymied all game and having the kicker kind of basically carry a half in it, the whole half by himself, it's probably not going to happen. It doesn't happen often. So
I agree. Yeah, I mean, a record 5 field goals. No other person has kicked 5 field goals in the Super Bowl. So yeah, if it was going to be a kicker's year, it would have been this year, but not the direction they went.
Yeah, sorry. Hey, shout out to Jason Myers, man. You're going to have a record that nobody's going to talk about except us here at Stuff About Sports that cares about the little guy.
Bert, the only time it's going to be talked about again is if it's broken, plain and simple.
Yeah, 100%. Fair or foul? The Patriots were exposed as frauds.
I think there's fairness to that. I'm not saying frauds from like a whole season standpoint. Obviously, they got there. They deserve to be there. But I do think that in like a Super Bowl contention team, like they just seemed completely out of sorts. It seemed like there was no plan. It seems like they didn't prepare well. They weren't coached well. I mean, take your pick. It was, and I'm not taking anything away from Seattle's effort by any means. I mean, obviously I can't. They have a fucking ring at this point, but it just seemed as though they weren't ready for the biggest game of the season.
I'm going to say fair because there's a lot of things going against them, and I am going to give it to them for the entire season. Drake May, fake MVP candidate. The Patriot. The only real thing about that team is Mike Vrabel being coach of the year. He did. You take a 4-win team, you win the division, all that stuff. But let's be real. The Bills, one of the worst years they've ever had. Obviously, you're in the division with the Jets and the Dolphins. Their record against the people they played, and I get people are going to scream, your schedule is your schedule. I hear you, man. But at the end of the day, you feasting on bad teams on your way to the Super Bowl to only get exposed and get your ass kicked in the Super Bowl only validates the strength of schedule argument that people don't want to make because they want to give teams an excuse and look at wins as a totality and not just what they are. You have a bunch of wins against bad teams and you feasted on a weak schedule, and you know what? Good for you. But to me, that's still fraudulent behavior. So, and then you have Drake May, who wasn't good in the playoffs at all. Like, give me the Drake May game in the playoffs. There wasn't one. And so I don't know, man. It's just, I'm not saying fraudulent in the terms that they're bad. I'm saying fraudulent in the terms of where the narrative was the Patriots are back. So that's how I'm framing it. I don't think they're a bad team. Obviously, they're not a bad team. They played in the Super Bowl, but they were talking about Belichick Brady dynasty 2.0. They're back to run the game for 20 more years. No, they're frauds. They put Drake May, the top 3 quarterbacks in the league, top 5 quarterbacks in the league. enough. That's slow it down, y'all.
Did he finish? What did he finish? Second in MVP voting? Is that what it was?
Yeah, but as we've experienced the last couple years, the MVP, which is a whole nother thing, is starting to turn into like a narrative story. Josh Allen gets an MVP he didn't deserve, that Lamar Jackson probably should have won. And in reality, Joe Burrow probably should have won, but you can't win it because your team only has 4 wins, even though statistically you were the best quarterback in the league last year. And then you have the year before that Lamar won it, where Josh Allen should have won it. He was the better quarterback, but the narrative was back-to-back MVP, and the Ravens didn't have much. And so I think now more than recent years, there's such a logjam of really good quarterbacks that the voters feel like everybody needs to get an MVP to justify why Patrick Mahomes has dominated the league. So we got to give these guys something, or else history is going to forget them, and which I don't think is right, but that's where we are. Drake May finished second in voting because he looked good against the bad teams, and the story is they're the Patriots. Vrabel came in and turned around a 4-win team, and they were red hot, and they took the division from the Bills in a year where the Bills had nothing going on but Josh Allen and James Cook for the most part. So, again, Drake May looking good against bottom feeders, made that team look good. And hey, but then you get to the playoffs where all the teams are good, and you see what happens. That's fraudulent. That's literally the definition of fraudulism. So I'm going to go ahead and just say that's fair. Again, that's not to me saying they're bad. It's just what people were making them out to be, and what they showed us is not. And listen, you got the injuries to Will Campbell that I'm not a fan of hearing about injuries after the fact, but you got Will Campbell saying, hey, the only reason we gave up 14 pressures was because my shoulder was hurting. And then you have Drake May saying, hey, I've been playing injured the last few weeks. Nobody wants to hear that. Hey, you lost and you were terrible. So I don't know, but shout out to Mike Vrabel. Again, Mike Vrabel did a good thing. The problem is the Patriots were a Hollywood set where it looks nice when everybody's standing in front of it. But then when you get the side view, you realize it's one of those cardboard cutouts with the stands in the back. That's the Patriots this year.
Nothing but a facade. Yeah.
Yeah. They all lied to us. They fucking lied. And I don't like it. Last one, Bert. Our guy, Randy Moss. Really upset that Bill Belichick didn't get in the Hall of Fame. I feel like we keep talking about the Hall of Fame, but it continues to be a story. I mean, for real. Like it's he said basically that voters, if you've never had your hand in the dirt, you've never played the game, or you've never coached the game, you shouldn't get a vote in deciding who is in the Hall of Fame. Do you agree with that?
I do 100%. I think, and although I've thought about this one a while, like I do think there's some semblance of like if your job is to be that beat reporter to cover the game for 20, 30 years, I get it. You deserve right now that vote in itself. However, there are 2 things that's wrong right now. One, there are certain people out there that can't be trusted with the vote, and that's been proved time and time again. And secondly, it's the voting process and it's the election process too. I mean, Greeny was saying this on his show, like, Eli Manning is a Hall of Famer. He should be in there. He said it verbatim. Bill Belichick is. Tom Brady will be. Like, this is a great Hall of Fame class. Don't get me wrong. Like, I think who's going in is the, should have been voted in. But to the same point, like, to not put Belichick as first ballot Hall of Famer, like, why do we only have to elect a certain amount per year? Why can't coaches and owners have their own separate category and they can go in addition to X number of players? Or how about you have, modern day plus, keep separate for everyone else and last chance and all that. So I think that needs to change. But I also do agree with Randy Moss on this one. Current Hall of Famers, those that have played the game who sit on the board, and throw current players in there too. To be voted in by your own peers, I think is ultimately one of the highest honors. And as much as I do appreciate a good beat writer, I just, they can't be trusted with their opinions right now. They could have, years of hating on a particular player. I mean, you said it last week, like T.O. didn't get in because writers didn't like his attitude, like it is what it is. Yeah, but
it's ridiculous.
But yeah, no, if they can't be trusted, take it away from them.
So Yeah, I think more importantly, I think if you're in the Hall of Fame already, you should be voting. I'm
Yeah.
okay with select writers, but again, the issue you have is, and this is going to be the problem with letting the Hall of Famers vote. Then it's going to be a buddy buddy club. Then it's going to be like, I'm going to vote my boy in, which is, to me, is fine, because to me that's no different than the writers
I mean,
who.
it kind of has already happened, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's true too. But there is a sense, like, if I work my entire life to be the best of the best and be considered Hall of Fame worthy,
Yeah.
I don't want no fat ass beat writer eating donuts and talking shit about me for 20 years deciding my fate. Like, again, if Bill Belichick's not a first ballot Hall of Famer, there should never be a coach to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Like, that should be done with, which
Yeah.
is obviously and ridiculously unfair and nonsensical. There's plenty of first ballot Hall of Fame coaches, but the fact that the writers took it upon themselves, and I'm generalizing all the writers, obviously we know that there's 11 of them that didn't do it, but if Belichick can't be a first ballot Hall of Famer and there's nothing that can be done to appeal that or change that or do whatever, then there should never be another first ballot Hall of Fame coach. They should never, and that, like you said, the process is broken. You can have the voters say something, but the media members gatekeeping and holding Spygate grudges from 20 years ago against the greatest coach of all time is, like Randy Moss said it, is it the Hall of Fame for greatness, or is it the Hall of media favorites? And so I'm not a fan of that. But if you let the players vote, like we were saying earlier, it becomes a little bit of a popularity contest, and he's the homie induction. And, there has to be a medium, but I don't know if you do it in a way where, like, the player vote and the coach vote, or the current Hall of Fame vote weighs more than the media vote. You know what I mean? Like, the media member get half a vote, like, one person, it's a half a vote. And then that way the media gets a vote, but their vote isn't nearly as important as it would be to the players. I guess would be the way I would do it. That way, even if there's a couple of non-media members that do it, if, obviously the players have more sense, because I don't think there'd be a single Hall of Famer or current player that would vote against Bill Belichick. That's insane. So
No. I mean, even if you look, I mean, Spygate, they lost that Super Bowl. So like, what, that all that came out after the fact, but Deflategate, like, even if you take that one away, he still has 7 Super Bowl rings.
yeah,
It's fucking insanity. So like, and again, I said this last week too. What are you going to hold grudges even after he served his punishment? Right. Like, and these aren't things that are huge. No, like, it's not like when the Astros legit was using technology and stealing signs and had a direct impact. Like the Spygate thing, and we spoke about it last week. Like, everybody was doing it, and they just got caught. Deflategate, that's another. I mean, like, that was another thing. Is like, what was cold? Are they really deflating the balls? There are these reports and talk. Like, it's just like, look. There was an investigation. Punishment was there, and we're all moving on from it.
Absolutely. Let's move on from that, and let's talk about expansion. Something that me and you have been really excited about the last couple of years, and it seems like this coming summer, or this year going into next year, seems to be more of a realistic, like, okay, let's start breaking ground on some of this stuff. Adam Silver announced that this summer the owners are going to meet to talk about expansion of the NBA to Seattle and Las Vegas. That's not official, but I think that's the running theory. MLB, Rob Manfred has talked about expanding for years, but again, maybe as soon as this summer, they're actually going to, like, put a vote to it. I'm sure a lot of the MLB owners are excited because adding 2 new teams would add $400 million of revenue estimated for every single owner. So I'm sure that's a thing that they're going to want to get done. But Rob Manfred kind of put not a disclaimer is the wrong word, a provision He wants one West Coast team. He wants one East Coast team to kind of balance it out. Not sure why that matters. I'm sure there's a weird thing, but I think what he's aiming for is realignment, which I'm really excited about because you know my theory. I think all divisions in every sport should be based on geography and nothing else.
Yeah.
So this, if he did it this way, I worked it out, there would be a perfect way. There's only one of the West Coast divisions would get a little wonky, but it's the best we can do. So overarching thoughts before we tackle each individual league, but your overarching thoughts on MLB and NBA expanding.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
fucking
absolutely. Like, add more teams. Like, this is what, like, we saw this happen in, I mean, look, the NHL is known for expansion teams. They're also known for moving teams too, much like the NBA is as well. But, like, you know, we've seen the positive impact of, you know, the Golden Knights. And then most recently, I know not an expansion team because it was a relocation from, you know, the Arizona Coyotes over to Utah, but it's cities getting new teams is what's getting people excited, and it's what's getting new fans and new eyes on the sport. And I know that sounds silly to say with major sports such as the NBA as well as MLB, but it absolutely happens. When, you know, you live in a state that doesn't necessarily have a professional team, what do, Jerm? They gravitate towards college sports. And you know how much money that makes too. So why wouldn't you want to capitalize on that market in those cities? It's the prime example of not, like, you cannot go wrong unless you put it in a small market, which I think at this point in time with all of the analytics, they know they're smart enough not to do.
Yeah, I agree with you. The rumored cities, or I guess the betting favorite cities, are the most interesting thing to me. Not that I agree specifically in the MLB side, but I guess we'll get into it. Obviously, we know that the NBA is going to basically give Seattle back the SuperSonics, which I think is fucking awesome. And then you have Vegas, who inevitably is going to have every major sport in there eventually. Baseball, it's eventually going to go to baseball too. Or no, Vegas is getting baseball. They're getting the athletics.
Yeah, they're getting
so
athletics,
we know that. And so I think, I guess NBA would be the last one because they already got football. They got the Raiders. They're getting the athletics. They have the Las Vegas Aces for WNBA, and then they have the Golden Knights. So they're definitely desperate to get the NBA into that market, which sounds like it's going to happen. But that means two teams have to come over from the West. Bert, I don't know if you did any research on it, but I'll just give you the two most common answers, or not common sense answers based on geography. For me, it is the Minnesota Timberwolves and it's the Memphis Grizzlies. They're the just two closest teams to the East Coast. Minnesota, right outside that Great Lakes area. They can go play Detroit and join that division. Obviously, Memphis can go join like the Orlandos and the Miamis and, Charlottes and all that stuff. Being in Tennessee, it is literally the East. They're in the Midwest. Minnesota is technically in a division with the Portland Trailblazers, which means they have to travel 1,700 miles to go play them in interdivision play. That's stupid. That's dumb.
Yeah.
And so Minnesota and Memphis coming over to the East makes plenty of sense. New Orleans is another team that could probably make that trip, but I think Tennessee makes better sense to me. If it was up to me, New Orleans wouldn't have a basketball team. They'd get relocated somewhere else too. They don't deserve a team. But I digress. For baseball, Bert, give me a West Coast team that you like. Give me an East Coast team that you like.
So, I mean, we had talked, look, the slam dunk for East Coast, Nashville, right? Everybody's calling it big city.
Which is the betting
fine.
favorite. Yep.
Betting favorite. There were two that came to mind. One you just mentioned in New Orleans, because why not?
Yeah.
But when you look at the Eastern Seaboard, there is a solid chunk of 3 states that do not have a team necessarily. I understand some Virginians may gravitate towards Baltimore. Some Virginians may gravitate towards the Nats. But I think there needs to be a team in the Carolinas. So I'm gonna go with Charlotte. I think the Charlotte it's a big city. It's a budding city. A lot of companies are down there too. Main travel hubs in the area. If you don't want to fly into Charlotte, you can fly into RDU. You can fly into some of the smaller airports as well. So It's easily accessible, tons of hotels in the area, tons of great stuff to do. So I think Charlotte would be a great East Coast team. West Coast, I immediately thought of California and then realized that fucking state doesn't need another baseball team because one's clawing to get out of it and going to Vegas. So I decided to go a little bit north, Jerm. And I know that the narrative for baseball has always been, let's put a baseball team back in Montreal. The only problem with that is they're on the East Coast, so to speak, if we're looking at alignment for baseball. So I have no problem going back to Canada for a baseball team, but I think it's going to have to fall within Calgary, Edmonton, or Vancouver. That's just the way it's going to have to be. You know, Seattle already has a team. I don't know if you want to put a team in Portland. You know, Salt Lake City, I mean, I guess we could, but I think we should put another team in Canada, which is weird to say for America's pastime, but I think it's a good way to harbor some really good fans.
You know, that's actually not a terrible idea. I love your Charlotte idea. That was one of the teams I thought. I looked at the map.
Yeah.
I also did this based on, okay, I'm also realigning the leagues. So I did everything based on geography. This is how I did it. Obviously, we would have to change some of the names of this stuff, right? So you have your AL Northeast, right? Obviously, we're going to keep the A. And this is how it would work, because now you have 32 teams, much like how football, you would have 4 teams per division, 4 divisions. You'll have your division winners make the playoffs and a pair of wild cards, right? So that's whatever that is, 10 teams that make it. 12 teams. Yeah, 12 teams that make the playoffs. So my Northeast AL would be your Yankees, Mets, Red Sox, Phillies. I think that's a popular grouping that's been talked about. That would be amazing. Imagine the rivalry, just the games for each of these where everybody can travel.
That would be disgusting. There would need to be mobile units for holding cells. The amount of disgusting fans there fighting each other. Yeah.
Let's do it. Fuck it. I'm with it.
It's just called terrible accent division is what it's going to be. Yeah.
But think about so you have Mets and Phillies, which is a heated fan base rivalry, and you have the Yankees, Red Sox. Now put them all in one division. Tell me that's not a moneymaker. Tell me that's not an intense and only, I mean, think about that. That'd be amazing to have. Okay. Now you have your other kind of Atlantic side teams. You have then you get into the Washingtons, the Baltimore, Pittsburgh,
like the mid-Atlantic we can call,
right. Throw Cleveland in there, okay. And then you obviously have your Great Lake area with Minnesota, Detroit, Milwaukee, and then I had to throw Toronto in there, just because they didn't fit anywhere else. So whatever.
They kind of fit there.
Kind of right. Great Lakes.
They're across the Great
Lake.
They're
across, right, and you don't have to go really into the states, and you're right there. So. But honestly, that was the only other place they could fit. Yeah. Now here we go. Here's where Charlotte fits in. The Southeast, I guess, right? Atlanta, Miami, the two Florida teams with the Charlotte team. Perfect. Obviously, if you wanted to do Nashville, that would go there as well, because Charlotte, Nashville, Tennessee, it's right there. All right, NL, you have your Chicago team. NL, I guess the Midwest for them would be the Chicago team, St. Louis, Cincinnati. Makes sense? Yeah. Then you have Colorado, could be not Midwest, but Central Mid, whatever. Anyway, Colorado, Kansas City, the 2 Texas teams, the Astros and the Rangers. Southwest, NL, you'll have the Dodgers, the Padres, Angels, Diamondbacks. And then you got the Portland team, because I think Portland or your West Coast of Canada team could fit there too, which is great. And then you have the Mariners, Athletics, Giants, and then insert Portland and or one of the West Coast Canada teams. That's a perfect realignment, if you ask me. I don't know. Again, you'll lose some of those rivalries, but you'll gain other great rivalries, and you'll be able to get some of those back in the postseason, where it'll matter more than 165 game regular season. So I think that would be, awesome, man. Like, I really do. I think that would be such a great thing to have for baseball. I hope it happens. You're kind of selling me on the second Canada team. That would be really nice. I don't know if
I mean, look,
I
if
didn't
you
think
throw it
about
in
that.
Vancouver, that's just like that's kind of like right over. That's
Yeah,
easier than Calgary, Edmonton. But
yeah,
look, I get it. People may want to keep baseball in America, and if that's the case,
yeah,
yeah, it's all settled for Portland. That's fine.
yeah, yeah. We'll take it. I'm really excited. I really would love that Northeast Yankee Met Red Sox Phillies division.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that excites me about all this, unless there's been a team there before, like Seattle obviously
Hmm.
is going to go back to the SuperSonics. There's no reason not to, right?
Yeah,
But
you have
like
to.
you're
You have
thinking
to.
about a whole new brand, a whole new
Yeah,
team name, mascot, etc., like logos, everything. It's just there's just something cool about. So I mean, we just went through it with hockey twice over the past what 8 years. Um,
yeah,
you know, New unveiling of jerseys. Like it's cool. Get the fans into it for naming conventions. It's great.
yeah. I agree. So we'll see what happens. I mean, there's a couple others sprinkled out there in the world that could probably use those expansion teams, but I think we kind of hit the nail on the head. All
I
right, Bert.
wonder if
Let's
they put it to a vote, like where America would vote to put it. You know,
I I would.
I would bet it would
I
it would
think
go Nashville immediately.
Nashville seems to be what a lot of people that I've seen
Yeah,
online when I kind of like what's obviously
yeah,
Vegas has their odds.
yeah.
But then you got to also I saw a lot of Salt Lake. I don't know how Utah is with baseball. I just don't. Like I don't know how they you know I didn't think they'd make I don't think about hockey when I think about Utah either, but hey, here
Neither
we
do
are,
I.
you know.
Yeah, I
So,
think it's
but
working. I guess.
I guess it's working for them. So they're people are going to the games and all that other good stuff. All right, Bert, let's do good, bad, and fugly real quick, and then we can get
Yeah,
out of here. Do you want to start?
yeah. I mean, good. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
let's go. Olympics are here, and your boy loves hockey, and I have to give my good to the U.S. women's national team, who fucking crushing it through the preliminary rounds, absolutely demolishing all their opponents. But let's talk about one game in particular because Germ, these colors don't run, and I'm so fucking tired of seeing red and black from the North constantly win over and over again. But the women handled business on Monday. Monday? Or Tuesday, doesn't matter, one of those days, slapping the Canadian women national team around 5-0, outshooting them almost 2-1. They were making plays offensively, defensively, and not only was it a huge win, but a huge statement. That was the largest goal lead they've had on Canada. The previous record was, I think, a 3-goal difference, and they by 2 extra goals as they blew it out. I'm looking forward to see their. I think they face Italy tomorrow in, their first uh, quarterfinals, I believe. And they'll advance from that point forward, hopefully. But yeah, I'm looking for. They're looking elite and going for the gold, so they're getting my good this week.
My goods from the NBA. I feel like I went to bed and woke up in 2004 because the Detroit Pistons are good again. I don't know how it happened. They just beat the Raptors. They're 40-13 without some of their players because their players can't stop beating up Charlotte Hornets players. So they got a couple suspended starters. But Bert, 40-13 on the season. Phil Jackson has a long-standing saying that you're not a contender unless you reach the 40-20 mark, which means you have to have 40 wins before you get to 20 losses. So back dating since he said that, there's only been 4 teams that have defied that. So that's the good sign for the Detroit Pistons. That means it's a general good rule of thumb when you're evaluating if a team is fraudulent or not. They're winners of their last 6 out of their last 7 games. They're a good complete team. Like they have a star. Cade Cunningham is a star player, and I don't have any bad things to really say about them other than some of their players have anger issues. Other than that, they're a
Yeah.
good, well-rounded team, and they've they've suffered for a lot of years, but they built it correctly. Smart choices, didn't go crazy in free agency and just throw money at people for no reason. So shout out to the Detroit Pistons. They're going to get my good this week.
Good.
What about your bad?
Let's move on to the bad, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
So for me, the bad, I don't know how I feel about this right now. I think I'm sitting in my feelings, but the Giants just hired Titans head coach Brian Callahan as a QB coach and pass game coordinator. Now, I've been high on recent Giants hires. This one I'm indifferent about, and this is why I'm calling it my bad, especially when you have such young developmental talent at quarterback too. I don't know if he's the right man for the role, but I trust in John Harbaugh. But I think I'm just, I'm going to sit with this one. For me, it's a little bit on the bad side, and we'll see if my intuition is right on this, and I hope I'm severely wrong.
Yeah, it's tough. I always live by the creed that just because you're a good salesman doesn't make you a good sales manager. We've seen that plenty of times. We have really good.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Josh McDaniels comes to mind. Excellent offensive coordinator. One of the best. Easily one of the worst coaches I've ever seen. So,
yeah.
Just to shoot Brian Callahan a little bit of bail, he got the head coaching job for a reason. Didn't work out. And now he's back to his roots. And maybe it'll work out this time.
Quickly didn't work out.
20 games didn't work out. Huh? So again, like you said, if you're a Giants fan, obviously you're a Giants fan, but for a Giants fan, I would say if you trust John Harbaugh, give it a shot. Let's see, what's the word? He's going to get the worst that can happen is he's going to get fired and you're going to go get somebody else anyway. But John Harbaugh, to me, has built up enough cachet to give him the benefit of the doubt, at least, for now. But I'm with you though.
Against them,
Yeah. But I'm with you. That is a short leash over there.
Bro,
Brian
I saw
Callahan.
that and I was like, what are we doing?
Yeah,
but hey, we'll see.
Gotta trust Harbaugh.
Let's see what happens. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't, we'll figure it out. My bad is going to my Philadelphia 76ers, specifically losing to the Knicks. I am not anti-trading Jared McCain away. I know a lot of Sixers fans were really upset about it. I hear you, man. He's a likable teddy bear. Ty is devastated. Whatever. He wasn't my cup of tea for various amounts of reasons. However, people act like we were trading away prime Allen Iverson. The kid, he's okay. He averaged 6 points a game. He played no defense. I'm sure we'll be able to find it. We got 4 picks from him. A declining player, not a declining, but a player who, coming off of a bunch of injuries, didn't really reach what he did his rookie year. And to get a first-round pick in 3 seconds, to me, is a good haul. But my issue is not with trading him in itself. It's trading him without also using those picks to pick up another player. We did nothing. We converted Dominic Barlow, which is what we needed to do, and I'm guessing we had to trade McCain to do that, but we didn't make any subsequent moves after that. And then to cap it all off, we lose by 49 points to our rival, the New York Knicks. 49.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not even that. The crowd seemed like 70% New Yorkers. Like, where are you at, Philadelphia? Where's all the fans of Philadelphia that scream at us on our Instagram page when we talk about Jalen Hurts? You guys come out in droves for that. You can't go out there and just support the team for the Knicks, and then the team is losing. I'm blaming the fans for this. You can't let New York come in and just take over our arena. It's insane. You have Tyrese Maxey out there who, while everybody else seems like they quit, is out there trying to play 1 versus 5 against the entire state of New York. And everybody else is out there just doing cardio. And then he has the nerve to get up on the podium and tell us to relax. No, we won't relax. We're not relaxing. This team has suffered, okay? We're wasting. We have Daryl Morey, who fucking sucks. You fucking suck, my guy. You're terrible at your job. And we've just been waiting for this thing to materialize, and it's not happening. So, sorry, Tyrese. I don't care how happy-go-lucky you are. We're not going to relax. You're not a killer. We need killers. You're not Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson is a killer. We need Jalen Brown. Jalen Brown is a killer. We don't need a guy who's smiling and happy and, oh, shucks, we'll get him next time, guys. I don't want that. I don't. That's not Philly to me. You're a great basketball player. You're a great talent, but you are not a killer. And I can't trust that you are going to lead the Sixers team as we enter the twilight of Joel Embiid's career, who's playing excellent, but he can't stay on the court because we have to take care of his knees. So he's skipping games like this because we're about to head to the All-Star break. And we're relying on you, man, to be that killer. And you're not it. And you better quickly discover it really fast or this team is not going anywhere. Bert, what do we got for your fugly?
Man, my fugly unfortunately has to go to Lindsey Vaughn. I hate to do it. I really do. I think she's an absolute competitor. But look, 9 days before she competed for the Olympics, she had a crash. I think it was in a World Cup competition. She completely ruptured her ACL in her left knee. And she's so badass. She was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm competing anyways. Put a brace on it, manage the swelling and pain, and go from there. And this had all the makings of being that epic Olympic. I mean, look, the comeback story in itself from her coming back from her first ACL injury years ago and remaking the team, phenomenal. But like going into it already partially injured and saying, I don't care. I'm going 80 miles an hour down this hill. Like, we're still doing this thing. Unfortunately, because she ruptured her ACL, there is now speculation that, of course, this is one of the major factors that caused her crash 13 seconds into her run and leading to multiple fractures in her left leg, and largely due to the instability of what would have been that joint where the ACL is. Unfortunately for her, she fell, seriously injured, had to be airlifted. The surgeries went well, though, but I give it fugly because it's just an ugly injury to happen. Was really hoping it was going to be just a hell of a comeback and just a great win for USA. Her teammates picked her up, though. We saw some really good medals come through. Anyways, but you know, wishing Lindsey all the best, but it was gruesome.
Yeah, shout out to her. I get it, man. I do.
Competitor,
partially
right?
torn.
Like, you can't falter, like to be like, no, fuck it, we're going. I would be honest with you. If I tore or ruptured my ACL, I'd be like, no, I want the surgery now. I'll get to rehab, please. So more of a badass than I am, that's for sure.
Yeah, I guess given her circumstances, knowing she's probably not going to make it to the next Winter Olympics, and in terms of just her age and where she was at, knowing this was going to be the last go at it, that she wanted to give it a try and just, hey, shoot me up with whatever the horse tranquilizers are, and I'm just going to go out there and try to do it and see what I can do. But yeah, it sucks because now, I mean, this sounds like something that's going to affect her for the rest of her life, and hopefully, obviously, she felt like it was worth it. You know, multiple fractures. I don't think they're just going to put your leg together the way it was, you know, or back to the way it was.
They're going to try.
They're going to try, and you know, maybe take the bunny hills next time you get out on the slopes. My fugly is going to the reaction of the Bad Bunny halftime show. Just the ugliness of people. Just the ridiculousness of, because I can understand the notion of not being a fan of a halftime show where the artist only speaks Spanish and you don't know Spanish. I get that. That's fine. You want to enjoy a halftime show. But the reasoning that we've been getting is the fugly part to me. Nobody watches the halftime show for the songs. You know what the songs are. You're watching the performance. And I don't care if you like Bad Bunny or not. If you're on that side of it, you can't tell me that it wasn't a good performance, because as somebody who doesn't speak Spanish, I completely understood his halftime show. I get the messaging that he was trying to give us. So that in itself made it, to me, a great halftime show. And listen, if you rather go watch Kid Rock and them instead of watching a bunch of bad Latinas shake ass for 15 minutes, that's on you. Okay? I like ass. And so I don't care what Bad Bunny's talking about. I know he makes songs for the ladies that are shaking ass. So that's what I'm trying to watch. But if you want to watch Kid Rock pre-record a show in front of 20 people, hey, that's cool. Mike says, no one's more badass than Bert. Dude came back to SAS after his battle before Corey did one divide. That is true. That is true. That's sick. Hey, hold up. Hey, hold up. Shout out to Corey, man. I mean, shout out to Bert. That's fucking hilarious. That's fucking funny. That is funny.
That is
You
awesome.
did do that,
Yeah.
man. Shout out to you. But you know, people just are being ugly about stuff. It's like you're losing your minds because he speaks Spanish, and you're
Yeah.
shocked that a global superstar from Puerto Rico, by the way, a U.S. territory. I know a lot of people for some reason forget that.
They forget
is singing.
that. Yeah.
He's singing in Spanish. Like, you're the fugly one if you don't understand that. And to me, it's just ridiculous that people were calling for boycotts. And then you got Jake Paul acting like he's the barometer for Americanism. Meanwhile, he has a fucking European girlfriend that he's sitting there crying over. I couldn't believe that. I said, yo, this guy's taking one too many hits to the head. I can't believe he did all that bullshit. And then if you listen to the show, the loudest it's been all night. He's broke viewing records. He did something for his people, man. Isn't America not the melting pot? Just because the show isn't white and English and you don't understand it, that means it's just not for you. It's okay.
Yeah.
Go back and watch the other 59 Super Bowl halftime shows that are in English and enjoy those again. And guess what's going to happen? Next year, the year after that, at some other point, you'll get an artist that resonates with you, and then you'll be able to enjoy it again. It's okay that the Puerto Ricans got a halftime show this year. It's fine. Counter programming, there's nothing wrong with it, man. If you feel that strongly about it and you're willing to put up the money and pay the artist, and you want Kid Rock and whoever to go do your own show and you go watch that, go watch it. But you have people freaking out in bars because bars are playing both. It's not enough that they're playing your halftime show on the fucking Turning Point network. You want them to turn off the Bad Bunny one too? That's fugly. Just watch your show and enjoy it. That's dumb. That's my problem with it. I don't like that.
And look, people didn't understand. It's like, what do you not understand? He is the highest grossing artist, I think, of last year. I mean, one album of the year too, a couple, a week before performing at the halftime show. And I'm with you. I didn't understand a word he said. Not in the least. But did I enjoy the performance? Oh yeah. It was awesome. And look, I mean, we're getting to a point now where, like, if you don't like it, don't watch it. Just shut the fuck up. Like, it really doesn't matter. Like, that's it. But to get mad at other people for watching or get mad it's on in a place that you don't own, that you just went to, like, you can leave. Yeah. You don't like it, leave.
Watch it at your house. Yeah. Anybody tell you to be there? The Who, Paul McCartney, they Americans, right? The Weeknd is Canadian. I believe U2
the Rolling
performed.
Stones had one
Rolling
too.
Stones, there's been plenty of non-Americans, but you're mad at Bad Bunny, who is an American citizen, which is hilarious. It's hilarious. People like that, man. I have nothing for you. Like, you guys are just miserable fucks, and you're what's wrong with everything. Adults who worry, and let's just call it what it is. It's the red hats. It's all you people over there on that side. You're more worried about Bad Bunny than the pedophiles that are running this country and covering up the people that are doing stuff. Think about that for a second. Your priority is to get mad at a halftime show that you didn't give a fuck about before, by the way. Instead of, hey, there's some real shit going on that's going crazy. This fucking lady, this news lady's mom just got kidnapped because she got mentioned in the Epstein files. Let's talk about that. Let's figure that one out. But you're worried about fucking Bad Bunny. Like you said, the biggest artist in the world. You don't think the NFL, you know what the NFL likes more than your eyes watching the game? They like money. And Bad Bunny's going to bring in money. And he's already paid dividends because it's the most talked about thing. And he also broke the viewing record. So
Jerm,
for all that bullshit.
Let's put it this way. They're never going to be happy unless it's like a Kid Rock type performance. Because even if you took someone as white as Taylor Swift, and put her out there, you would hear them all bitch and complain about how she's too liberal. She spoke out against, conservatives, and she's dating Travis Kelce, and I didn't want to see her on my TV screen all the time anyways. Like, they're never going to be happy. And like, look, I said it before. If you don't like who's playing at the halftime show, just fucking turn it off. Like, that's playing, like, it's not always going to be catered to you, and you're going to have to be okay with that.
So, and and soon enough, it will be catered to you. Like, that's the way it works. They rotate it. They try to include things. It's just, I don't know, whatever. It's such a fucking crazy thing. All right, Bert, do you have a game ball you want to give out?
Well, I mean, I'll give two.
Mhm.
One, I mean, I can't say enough good things about the U.S. women's national hockey team.
Yeah.
They get my game ball solely for routing Canada the other day too. But I do want to give a game ball to James Vanderbeek, who unfortunately passed away yesterday, but played one of the most iconic quarterbacks and one of the best football comedy movies. Ever in Varsity Blues too. And look, if you know one thing about this show, not only are we fans of sports, but we are fans of sports culture and sports movies, even individuals that maybe didn't play football before, but played actors in a movie that we really enjoy. And, certainly gone too soon and lost his battle with cancer, but, sending our best to the family, hoping he rests in peace. But game ball goes to James Vanderbeek.
Well said. I'm not going to give it. I'm the same. I ditto that. James Vanderbeek deserves the game ball. Amazing career, and again gave us some classics, and just did things right. Like especially towards the end, they did the cancer awareness show on the TV, the network TV show, and he's just been very outspoken about it, and to do that with grace, right? To know that the end of the line is coming, and just to choose to use that time to spread awareness and be positive and just live, is an amazing thing. So good on you. So game ball to him. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Please like, share, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us at Stuff About Sports. We are continuing to grow every day. Me and Bert will catch up with you guys next week. And, it's football's over, Bert. I don't know what we're going to do, but we're going to try to make it happen.
Hey, the Olympics are here. Watch the Olympics.
Olympics here. Watch the Olympics.
Yeah.
There's some
Let's
like
come
very
back together
special...
as a country.
Yeah.
And root for USA.
Oh, before we get out of here, you seen Nick Wright said, how do you make the NBA All-Star game competitive? You do whites versus blacks. He said you put you said you let the whites get like Joker and Luca, and he said they would play really hard. And I said, you know what, man? In the spirit of the Olympics, like nothing really brings out competition better than good old-fashioned tribalism, right? U.S. versus the world, black versus white, yes. Crips versus Bloods. Let me tell you something. Nothing unites more than wanting to come on for your people. Mike says to the Red Hats, there's a good place in hell for them next to our brows. You damn right there is. And, Kid Rock, you'll be there soon enough, pal. Keep singing.